The fans are incredible here in the heart of New Hampshire. Here we go. 2x2, it's side by side. They work their magic off turn number 4. Aaron Maynard looks the field over as we are about ready to begin.
Jake Johnson hard on the accelerator, and he's going to drive off into turn 1 with the race lead, pulling away from Ronnie Silk.
There's no question. He quickly moves out front. But already 2x2 is the story all the way back. Meanwhile, it appears that good run there. All of a sudden, it is the 22 of Kyle Bonsignore that squeaks into second. Here comes car 17.
Anthony Nocella up the inside lane, using his open modified experience here at the White Mountain Motorsports Park to move himself into third. Right behind him goes Patrick Emmerling in that number 1, as Ronnie Silk is not liking the way that 16 car is handling up in the outside lane early in this one.
It appears that the inside lane is the lane that's getting hooked up. You're looking at Patrick Emmerling. He tries to sneak down underneath Ronnie Silk. With him, he brings John McKennedy in the black, blue, and white number 79 car. They almost touch. Silk is left to hang out on the outside lane. That's not where you want to be. There comes Justin Bonsignore.
Bonsignore right behind the 79 of McKennedy, and he's got Matt Hirschman in tow behind him. That inside lane has stacked up, and Ronnie Silk up on the outside lane is trying to rally the troops and hang on inside of the top 5 with that 16 car.
The only car in the front pack of 8 that is in the outside groove is Ronnie Silk. He can't find an opening at the bottom. Now John McKennedy tries to sneak by, and here's Justin Bonsignore. Remember, Bonsignore won here in the inaugural event that was held for the Whelen Modified Tour. And there, that red and yellow number 60 car, that is Matt Hirschman. Hirschman, the elite number 60, is definitely hooked up. He did not qualify that well, though, Aaron, and he was quick to point that out.
Was not happy with the time trial run that team had at all, but he's definitely familiar with the White Mountain Motorsports Park. He's one of the drivers that's led the most amount of laps here in a Whelen Modified Tour competition, and he's going to slowly and steadily work his way towards the front of the pack. And once that pay window opens, you know that big money's going to be there looking for the check.
We certainly do. And Stephen Kopsik, car 21, black and neon numerals car, down underneath his friend Ronnie Silk, has now moved in and takes over the 8th position. It is Silk who's referred to as one of the young drivers and setup men that has perhaps the brightest future of the next generation. Meanwhile, right there is Kopsik. He's making the same transition and the same type of move.
Down around the bottom side of the racetrack right now, that is what everyone is using to move forward. Ronnie Silk, who had the misfortune of qualifying second quick and then redrawing the second chip, has slid back through the field as Craig Lutz, the Lutz cracker as you like to call him, has slid to the inside of the 16, and he's picked himself up another position as well.
Car number 56, Trevor Catalano, also threading the needle. And remember, at the start just a few minutes ago, we heard from Jacqueline that the 7 car was forced to go to the rear of the field. Already the Baldwin car is into the 12th position. That's a lot of gain in a very short period of time. 16 laps and counting here at White Mountain.
He's picked up 7 already, and there's just no telling how many more he's going to pick up in that 7 car. Tough break for him having to go to the rear of the field, but they got the problem sorted out, and now he's got 200 laps to get himself back to the front of the pack.
Certainly does. Everybody's trying to be a little bit cautious. When we talked to competitors today, they said, we want to be there at the end. 200 laps on a quarter-mile racetrack doesn't sound like a big distance, but it is. Remember, we're going to talk about the tire situation because you have not a lot of change tires in this one. And Aaron, we got different points of views when it came to the tires here earlier today.
We did. There was people in the pit area that were saying they were only going to change 1 tire. Some people were going to come down multiple times. And we even saw a couple of teams that said, yeah, you won't see us on pit road. We've got the 4 we're going to go with, and those are the ones we're going to ship all day.
And Matt Hirschman was one of those individuals. You're looking at our leader, Jake Johnson, but let's go a little further back because that's where the action is. Running in second, doing a great job is the 22 car of Kyle Bonsignore. Nobody stepping out of line behind him. Currently, Anthony Nocella in the neon numeral number 17 car. That is Patrick Emmerling, car number 1, the Fleet Services car. Behind that, well, not that far behind them, is Matt Hirschman in 7. Steven Kopsik up to 8. He's moving forward. Trevor Catalano is 9. And Craig Lutz rounds out the top 10.
Lutz started 15th on the field in that 46 car. He's picked up 5 early. And right now he's going to the inside for the number 9 position as he tries to move himself by Catalano in that 56. And he will, as they come down the main straightaway, take over that position, moving Catalano back 1. Ronnie Silk has finally found some quarter down on the bottom side of the racetrack as he tries to get by Luke Baldwin in Canada for 7, and he does so in turns 3 and 4.
You know, there's no question that Ronnie Silk, once he got to the bottom, he'll start to settle in there. And what we mean by the bottom, the inside groove of the racetrack. He was pinned on the outside and shifted way back. The 16 car is out of the top 10 as we speak, back in the 11th position. He's setting his sights on Trevor Catalano. Now, the Catalano family, as Aaron pointed out, their other car had the misfortune of having engine problems earlier in practice today.
And they'd had multiple podium finishes this week back at home on their home tracks and right near the upstate New York that they live in. They've been racing dirt mods over the course of the week, and they had high hopes coming into today's action as we've got a challenge for the lead and a change for the lead. Kyle Bonsignor slides by Patrick Emmerling and moves himself up to the race lead. Excuse me, that's Jake Johnson, no longer Patrick Emmerling in the 07. So Kyle Bonsignor now on top, Jake Johnson back to second.
You know, interestingly enough, this young driver is so long overdue for having success. He has been consistent and strong, but he has not had any luck. Car number 22, Kyle Bonsignor from Bayshore. The Charlie Performance MTT Munz Auto car, the neon pink and black car. Not only is he out in front, but he has a margin that is getting bigger as we speak. Jake Johnson, for the first time, has to settle back into second. Anthony Nocella now is finding that car number 1, Patrick Emmerling. Look at Emmerling's stats, and you will see that Patrick Emmerling has been a force to be reckoned with. He's applying the pressure in turn 1.
All over the rear bumper of that 17 car of Anthony Nocella, trying to move himself up into the 3rd position early in this one. We've already got 37 laps on the board as Bonsignor comes by the stripe right there. Battle for 3rd continues. Nocella hanging on to it, that neon yellow number 17 car. Emmerling puts the Nerf bar underneath him that time, going down into turn 3, but could not seal the deal as Nocella once again holds him off and hangs on to that number 3 position.
Well, Nocella is on the podium, and if you know anything about him, cut his teeth competing as a youngster in quarter midgets, worked his way up, competes in midgets, very successful in everything he drives. His own family car, owned by his family, the Nocella Paving Group, the 92 car, has had tremendous success. But the story today is car 17. This is the first outing for this car. Meanwhile, we looked a little further back for a moment, and it appears that there's no question the number 7 car is working its way towards the front as well. Luke Baldwin is at the bottom of the top 10. That's the 7 New York car. And now here comes Silk, diving to the inside of Lutz. Can't make the move.
Craig Lutz was able to hold him off because Ronnie Silk saw the lap car of Mike Marshall coming on the inside lane and didn't want to put anyone in a precarious position, which is what would have happened if they'd have tried to go by him 3 wide. Now we'll see if Ronnie Silk's going to go back on the attack in that 16 car. He's got that car working really well on the bottom. And now, since he lost all those positions after starting second, pit strategy has got to be creeping into the mind of that Phil Moran-led crew.
I think you're exactly right with that. Phil Moran, one of the best in the business. Ronnie Silk likes this type of a racetrack. He has had a lot of success. All of a sudden, we see heavy traffic again as the leader. Now the margin is closed up. Leader of the pack still remains Kyle Bonsignor. Last circuit by in the 12-second bracket, 12.234. Now, earlier today in qualifying, You had to be in the 11s if you were going to be up front.
You did, but you can't run the time trial pace for the entire race. And Kyle Bonsignor has been sick of being called in circles the other Bonsignor.
Yes, you're
He
right.
was a top 3 finisher the second time the Whelen Modified Tour was here in 2020 when they came in August that year. And he wants to put his name out there. And this is a racetrack he's comfortable with. And he's holding off Jake Johnson right now with that race lead. They've lapped by the Ken Hagee 18. They've got Mike Marshall a couple of laps down in that 29 car. Of course, he's just cutting his teeth here.
And now we're taking a look at what's happening. Steven Kopsik, car 21, on a tear. Kopsik moving forward. All of a sudden, Craig Lutz moves to the inside of Matt Hirschman. Silk hitches up to the back bumper. Luke Baldwin is there. Matt Hirschman was not happy with this car in practice. He might be less happy now because he is backing up a bit and everybody is marching forward.
They got him shuffled up to the outside lane, and he lost a couple of spots. We'll look now at the Austin Beers 64 car as they all run behind the Ronnie Silk 16, who got a little bit loose. He was underneath Matt Hirschman and almost threw that car away down in turns 1 and 2. Everyone was able to keep their cars going straight. They mind their P's and Q's, but the man on the move right now up towards the front is that 21 of Steven Kopsik. He just flew by Justin Bonsignor like the 51 car wasn't even on the racetrack.
You're so right, and he continues to do so. Now you're looking at the 64 car, and that, of course, is Austin Beers. He's back in the 12th position. That's not where he wanted to be at this stage of the event, but he is starting to settle in as well. But the big mover and shaker still seems to be the top 4 cars out in front. Currently, Kyle Bonsignor, only 2 leaders so far in the event. Jake Johnson, the early leader in the competition. And then, of course, Patrick Emerling and Anthony Nacella. Let's shift back. There's Baldwin down underneath Ronnie Silk. And right there with him is Austin Beers. That is the battle for the 10th, 11th, and 12th position.
They move Baldwin into the top 10 after having to start rear on the field. And then you get the 64 Beers on the bottom in the 64 trying to move by Silk. Silk got the tires really hot, probably made him a little bit angry, got some of the marbles that kind of build up in the outside lane on him. When he got sideways and had to catch the race car up the racetrack, and right now he's kind of paying that price. We are 62 laps into this race here at the White Mountain Motorsports Park. So far, clean and green, man.
So far, but it all can change in a matter of a blink of the eye. We're now looking at Lutz is trying to hold off the 60, and that, of course, is Matt Hirschman. Justin Bonsignor setting back in the 9th position. He has not moved himself around much so far, as the 51 started in 15. So he picked up 6 positions, but he is far from running up front. Now let's take a look at the battle between John McKennedy, car 79, and Steven Kopsik in the number 21 car.
McKennedy right now currently occupying that number 5 position on the grid, being worked over by Steven Kopsik in the 21. He's tried the inside lane a couple of times, but it looks like riding the momentum, the outside lane beginning to take rubber. We didn't see it working very well in the first few laps of the race for Ronnie Silk, but as that rubber gets laid down in the outside groove, it begins to come into it. You can see the modified now kind of migrating up to the middle lane of the racetrack.
You were absolutely correct. John McKennedy, he's won on this racetrack in super modifieds. He's won in modifieds. He's raced here on 3 different series, the Modified Race Series, as well as the Monaco Modified Tri-Track Series. And now he is in a dogfight battle with that driver of car number 21. Steven Kopsik, not only did he do his homework and learn how to fabricate and build, he learned how to set up race cars. Him and his dad are highly respected as 2 of the very best. And they just don't do their thing. They help other teams out. That's what makes them so good.
That does help make you better. The more teams that you work with, the more you learn. It's a little bit of R&D helping out other teams. They got a battle right now. Going to the inside goes Kopsik in the 21. We've also had a change for second. Patrick Emmerling in the 1 car has moved by the Jake Johnson 07. So we've got a change for second, and we're having a change for fourth right now.
Right now, timing and scoring shows us, and we've already seen it. Steven Kopsik moves in, takes over position number 5. Craig Lutz is right behind him. Anthony Nocella up to the 4th position. He dropped back a position and then gained it once again. But amazingly enough, car number 79, John McKennedy, once Kopsik went by, he lost 3 positions on the racetrack.
He did. He got up in that outside lane. He got outside of the outside lane and had to give up a couple of spots. Craig Lutz came by in the 46. Matt Hirschman moved through in the 60 as well, as it has not been the day that McKennedy was looking for in that number 79 car.
Certainly has not. We're looking a little bit further back car and the 16 car. And there, right in front of Luke Baldwin, is Justin Bonsignore, the Phoenix. Masso car. Here comes Luke Baldwin. 6 in at a ton. They come together. They make contact. And Bonsignore has the spot. Luke Baldwin isn't giving up. Rib rides to the bottom of the racetrack. Ronnie Silk waiting there patiently to look for the slip up. Bonsignore shakes him off and sets his sights on the car in front of him, which is Austin Beers. Remember, 6 points separate first and second on the Whelen Modified Tour going into this event.
As they run right now, Austin Beers in that 64 would close a couple of points from Justin Bonsignore, as they still run side by side right behind Bonsignore. Ronnie Silk and Luke Baldwin, they've kind of been fighting with each other since the 16 car had its troubles in the outside lane to start the race. Now it is Baldwin who's beginning to maybe lose the handle. The rear tires going away as we're now 82 laps into this one. And while we were watching that battle, the 82 of Woody Pitcat took that car pit side, and it looks like he's retired from the event.
Tough break for Woody Pitcat in the Danny Watts machine. He hasn't had much luck at all this season, but his day comes to a screeching halt. We're looking right now at that battle that was shaping up between Luke Baldwin. But let's go back, fast forward ahead, and we've got Austin Beers down underneath Jonathan McKennedy, and that's the battle for the 8th and 9th position. Side by side, Beers, nice tight line to the bottom. 3rd generation driver, took the Whelen Modified Tour by a storm. Sly and Ronnie Uhouse helped create the magic, and the A-team is looking like just that, as now Beers has moved into the top 8.
Well, you know, Bonsignore's not having the day that team is kind of accustomed for, and right now Austin Beers is like a shark that smells blood in the water, as Matt Hirschman goes to work on Steven Kopsik in car number 60. That's the battle right now, just outside of the top 4 for the 5th position, currently being occupied by the 21 of Kopsik. Matt Hirschman looked underneath him a couple of times as they're coming down to complete lap 89. Now make that 90 up on the board, so we're only 110 from the pay window opening. So obviously it's time for that red and yellow number 60 car to get marching towards the front.
It certainly is. I'm watching a tremendous battle between Justin Bonsignore and Ron Silk. That's to the right of your screen, and Luke Baldwin. Look to the left of your screen. The leader of the event is still Kyle Bonsignore. Patrick Emmerling is there, but not close enough. Last time by, 12.006 for Bonsignore, 12.046 for Patrick Emmerling. Close. Oh, trouble! Down the back straightaway. Luke Baldwin made contact, and that contact was with the 16 of Ronnie Silk. Heartbreaking situation there, as we told you about and talked about so much, that the 16 team, the Blue Mountain Machine and Future Homes operation, they were here not for points, they're here running for the prestige of winning and the honor. Phil Moran is, of course, the crew chief. Jonan, the racing team, and what a first-class team it is. This guy, wherever he has run this year with that number 16 car, they have been the car to beat. It happened, it started down south and worked its way up to Thompson Speedway, where he was a dominant factor there as well. So, as the field is under yellow, heading back out of the pit area is the Mike Marshall machine. Let's take a look at the replay, and you saw a little bit of contact. Look at Baldwin on the inside, Silk on the outside. Baldwin drifts up, hits the left rear rub rail. Silk does a nice job. Baldwin gets away. Here's another look at it. There is the shot that jarred the excitement in the back straightaway, and how ironic this caution would come out, and Ron Silk, the Blue Mountain Machine car, would be the car that suffered the worst of the wear. One thing we know about Ron Silk, Aaron, is he does not give up. He is going to come back to the front no matter what. He's not a guy that off to a tough start and so on with it. Lucky Dog being put into position, and of course we're going to wait and see what happens and the story on pit road, if there'll be any takers. And of course Jacqueline Drake has been covering the action backstage. And Jacqueline, from your perspective there, is this the time we're going to see? Yes, they are. Jacqueline, they're coming towards you.
Absolutely. All the pit crews are down in the pit area, ready to see these cars fly in. We're going to see our race leader right here, Kyle Bonsignor, the first up to bat, the number 22, to his pit stall. Now, this is one event where they don't gain or lose unless they stay out on the track. The team's going to be quick with that Hoosier tire, put on a new right rear for the number 22, drop the jack, and that's all the changes for Kyle. Right behind him, Patrick Emerling also doing a right rear on that number 1. Continues to be the pattern throughout all the pits. The right rear is the way to go as they're going to make their way back out onto the track.
And just as Jacqueline said that, they come back out. And of course, the only cars that'll be ahead of the leader are the cars that stayed out on the racetrack itself. Those cars being the 59 of Tyler Berry and the number 18 car of Ken Heggie. That, of course, is the Christopher Fleming car. And we'll be taking a quick break, and we'll be back for more of the running of today's event for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour from White Mountain Motorsports Park.
We couldn't do it without.
Timothy, do we have any of those other stats that need to be done?
What price do you put on a life? We don't want to run the risk of causing loss of life through our response.
Whelan sells peace of mind. Their goal is to get home each and every evening. And if we play a small part in ensuring they get home safely each day, it's extremely gratifying.
We're back here from White We're back right here from White Mountain, and of course, first caution comes out. We are just past the halfway marker. When I say just past, we are one lap past it at this point. The leader and the dominant car so far has been Kyle Bonsignor. The McDermott family, the son and the dad, this is an effort by father and son to make these cars work. Cam McDermott works on several cars, but this is the car that he's looking to get to the winner's circle. Green flag is back out.
Kyle Bonsignor on the inside lane is going to lead them down into turn one. We'll see if these crews got their stagger correct on their change tire. Lots of different strategies going on so far. A lot of right rears is what we saw on pit road. And Bonsignor shows the way. Jake Johnson is really ready to go to the whip in the 07 as he goes back into the runner-up position, moving the one of Emmerling back into third.
You know, car number 07, Jake Johnson, he tested the waters right there in the back bumper, gives him a tap, lets him know he's there. Meanwhile, look further back. The first of a side-by-side battle is between the 64 of Austin Beers. That car is running in the 7th position. Matt Hirschman is right there with him. And Hirschman has the only car that is attempting to run the outside lane at lap number 106. Back up front, we saw Austin Beers again trying to throw everything at it to get around the Lutz machine. Can't do it. Takes a shot to the inside, Aaron.
Goes down to the bottom, trying to work over the 46 of Craig Lutz. Luke Baldwin is right behind in car number 7. Of course, he was involved in that caution flag that just came out. He's working the bottom, trying to follow the 64 of Beers by the 46 of Lutz. Everybody continues to chase Kyle Bonsignor, and it's Austin Beers right now, moving himself into 6th on the inside. Move Lutz back to 7th. Baldwin keeps him pinned to the outside lane, as it seems like you're going to have to lose some tire or have some tire wear before the outside lane comes back like it was before that caution
You
flag.
are exactly right, and it appears that now just out of the top 5 is Austin Beers. Left side of your screen, you're looking at the battle for 1st and 2nd. Kyle Bonsignor along with Jake Johnson. Right side of the screen, you're looking at a battle with Justin Bonsignor, Craig Lutz, and in front of him, that bright yellow and red car is, of course, Matt Hirschman. Great battles at both ends. As again, another tap to the back bumper. Jake Johnson, this kid has really matured and done well for himself. And so has it the leader, Kyle Bonsignor.
Bonsignor continues to lead. He wants to be the 6th different winner so far this season, and he is laying it on at the front of the pack right now. Johnson has been all over him, tried him inside, tried him outside, and right now he just seems content to ride in his tire tracks. He's a car length back. They have 2 car lengths on Patrick Emmerling's number 1, and then Anthony Osella has been hanging around inside of the top 5, still sitting in that 4th position. Stephen Kopsick in car number 21, he started 10th on the grid. He's moved himself up into the top 5, and we're just about 84 laps from the end of this one.
I think you're going to see a real late event charge take place when we get to about lap number 175 for the final 25 circuits. We'll set the field for you. It is Kyle Bonsignor, the leader of the pack. Jake Johnson, the only other leader, is 2nd. Patrick Emmerling, who's car number 1, of course, up to contention in the 3rd spot. Anthony Nacella is there. Nacella started in the 5th position and has worked his way towards the front. Stephen Kopsick, I think he's gained the most, perhaps, with car 21, as he has dropped back some and then worked his way back up to contend, and he is currently running in 5th, but he is on a tear.
He's also under heavy attack right now from Austin Beers in the 64, who's looked to the inside of him a couple of different times. Beers, coming in number 2 in the standings, has some cars between himself and Justin Bonsignor, and he wants to add to that list. And he wants to add Stephen Kopsick's name to it.
Sure does. And of course, those are 2 young drivers that have been a part of this sport for a while. They become household names in 2025. Meanwhile, Beers continues to try to work over Stephen Kopsick. All of a sudden, here comes the 60 of Matt Hirschman closing in on Luke Baldwin. Here's the move down into turn number 3.
Beers
Austin Beers.
Beers in the 64 saw the opportunity to the inside lane when Kopsik left it wide open. And right now it is Austin Beers in that 64 trying to move himself into the top 5. Number 2 so far in the year-long point standings, but they're closing in on the lap car of Ken Hagee, and that may get interesting. It does. Kopsik way up the racetrack in the 21.
Sure did. Steven Kopsik got way up into the loose stuff. He didn't do it alone. He had his feathers ruffled a bit, but he was able to gather it back. He'll settle in, and he'll come back at it. Now look at Hirschman. Yellow and red number 60 car. All over the black Luke Baldwin, number 7 New York car. Remember the story. That car had started the rear. It was involved in the jingle with the 16 car that brought out the caution. Luke Baldwin is back up to 7th.
Baldwin's been on a charge from the back of the pack. You're looking at side-by-side racing action. You've got the front 2 cars battling on the left side of your screen. You've got that battle going on between Hirschman and car number 60 and the 7 of Baldwin as they continue to battle right now just outside of the top 5.
Continuing to work their magic. And again, the pink and black machine dominating out front. But now look at your right side of your screen. There is Matt Hirschman. He's trying just about everything to get around Luke Baldwin. The Elite Towing Company machine would like to put Baldwin in tow. All of a sudden, the 21 of Kopsik now is settled back in. But Aaron, back up front, every so often Jake Johnson will make a bid down underneath the 22 car.
He turns the wick up to challenge him, gets there, starts to challenge, and then kind of aborts the mission.
Yes, he does. Almost thinks twice of it and settles back in. But Patrick Emmerling is coming. The Dale Hedquist car is dialed in and looking racy. Car number 1, the LFR chassis, setting in that 3rd position. As Jake Johnson was real close to setting up and making the move to take the lead, all of a sudden the gap changes, and now the leaders come up on lap traffic as they come off turn number 4, and it's the Hagee machine running on the inside of the racetrack. He makes way as the top 4 break away as Austin Beers in 5th, trying to close up that gap on Anthony Nocella.
Beers got by the 21 of Steven Kopsik for the 5th position and left him in his dust. He is pulled by a half a straightaway over the 6th place running Kopsik, who has a rearview mirror full of that battle that we were talking about earlier between Baldwin in the 7 and the Hirschman 60 car. They have clear sailing behind them. It's a ways back to the 46 of Craig Lutz. And then you find Ronnie Silk in the 16 who just bypassed the 51 of Justin Bonsignor. The point leader is in danger of leaving the White Mountain Motorsports Park without the point lead.
Certainly is, and he did not like that when we talked to him earlier. He said, this is a crucial race for me, and as a former winner at this racetrack, I think I can win this one. Meanwhile, we've been watching Steven Kopsik in the 21 car being chased down by Luke Baldwin. Baldwin right there, but Matt Hirschman comes in. Baldwin's car loosens on exit, but on entry, the car stables in, settles right in, and now the battle is for 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Kopsik in the 21 has the 6th spot. Baldwin in the 7 has the 7th spot. Matt Hirschman is right behind him in that 60 car. All over him, but just doesn't seem to have the car to make the pass, to get alongside of the guy, to get him out of the groove, to then send him up to take the position away.
So it continues to be a very interesting situation happening up front. Kyle Bonsignor literally trying to wear him out is Jake Johnson. Johnson looks high. That's the left side of your screen. And on the right side of your screen, it is the battle with Kopsik, who is now, Aaron, starting to pull away from Luke Baldwin and Hirschman.
Hirschman turned the pressure up on Luke Baldwin. Baldwin had to change his lane a little bit, and that's allowed Steven Kopczyk to kind of scoot away from them, go into his own area code, do his own thing as those two guys wage their own little war amongst themselves. Baldwin has kind of gone up to the white line. You'll see that white dash line through the corners. That's where the pavement transitions from extra banking onto a flatter, older surface. And that, if you hop that white line, it's a pretty good chance you'll send your car into the spin cycle.
And you know, we've been able to see that, and we hope our viewers on Flow are able to catch that as well. Again, the margin between first and second, it'll grow at times, and then just as it grows, it starts to change. But there's one thing. Keep your eyes on the 64 car. And that, of course, second in points, 6 points back, Austin Beers. Beers is now surface in the 6th position. Moving up and moving forward, Beers is now the 5th spot. He's not done yet.
He's going to work on the back of the Anthony Nocella 17 car. He's been all over him. He was a straightaway back when he cleared for 5th place. He's caught him. Now he's driven down underneath him. He's going to work for 4th. He may be the guy to keep an eye on. You're right. We talked to Sly and Ron Newhouse earlier today, and they said it's a team effort. They got all the members of the crew. They all want to work on the car, but they all have assigned jobs. They got one guy checks chalk travel, one guy checks the tire temps, one guy checks the stagger, and it's paying off right now. They are operating like a well-oiled machine and up into the top 4 after starting fairly deep in the field in this one.
They certainly did. The 64 car was among the top 4 in the original lineup, but then with the spin of the wheel and the redraw, everything changed there. But now, Austin Beers continuing to close up the gap. Nocella has the brightest car in the field, but he's not the brightest blip on the radar right now. He's got a ways to go. But Kyle Bonsignore has driven a flawless race so far. Here comes Beers. Wheels in on the back bumper of Patrick Emerling. You're looking at 2 of the best that could become champions of the Whelen Modified Tour this year, and it all could begin right here at White Mountain Motorsports Park.
Kyle Bonsignore in that 22 car has been leading the way, but the man that's been on the move after getting pinned to the outside lane after the initial start and falling back outside of the top 10 has been the 1864 for Austin Beers. He's moved himself into 4th. They've checked away from Anthony Nocella's 17 car. And right now, Beers in the 64 is trying to set up the Patrick Emerling number 1 to move himself into 3rd. They're again closing in on the lap car of Ken Hagee to put him another lap down. They all chase the 22 of Kyle Bonsignore, but Bonsignore has been unable to drive away. Jake Johnson's keeping him honest, only a car length back in that 07, and then Emerling on his rear bumper with Beers just a few inches back from that. They've got a little bit of room back to the Anthony Nocella 17.
They certainly do. And Aaron, we can see that Austin Beers does have a race car that can run the very bottom of the racetrack. He doesn't use it up. He only tests the water with it, but when he puts the car down there. Right now, we're going to go back to a different battle between the 79 of Jonathan McKennedy and one of the guys that is, well, fairly a newcomer to the Whelen Modified Tour, and that is Brian Roby, the Bar Harbor Bank Machine. That is a battle that is working back in just out of the top 10. 11th is McKennedy, Roby, and Tyler Ripkema in the number 3 car. And now moving into that battle is the Catalano number 56 car. 4 cars contending, trying to break their way in. And believe it or not, Justin Bonsignore has only found a home in position number 10 so far.
The reason we're watching this battle so closely right now is because the leader is closing in on it. Kyle Bonsignore in the 22 is closing in on that 4-car jam section for spots just outside of the top 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And those are the final cars in the lead lap, and they've only got about 4 car lengths before the race leader is on their rear bumper. As you can see, Bonsignore and the rest of the front 4, and problems for Beers. He goes way up the track and 1 and 2 that time.
All of a sudden, his car got evil and loosened up. Here comes the leader. He sets his sights on the target. the target becomes the number 56 car, and that, of course, currently is Trevor Catalano trying to make way. Catalano, but right there, directly behind him, trouble now. Austin Beers. We saw that car go way up the hill on the previous lap, and it looks like contact was made. Anthony Nasella's number 17 car, the Extreme Motorsports car. You can see the damage done as the left front wheel is peeled back on that car. And the 59 car is, of course, Tyler Berry. Aaron?
Well, Ben, you said with 25 laps to go, the intensity was going to ratchet up. Well, I've just looked at the scoreboard. There's 24 to go, and we're under caution.
We sure are. And it's going to be, I think, hectic again for Jacqueline in the pit area, because now we're going to see if there's going to be any takers, because now it's become a sprint. Traditionally, we both know that in short track racing, there were not days of 200 laps, 150 always. There was a good short track distance. Under 30 laps told the story for many Friday and Saturday night racing event. Headed in towards Jacqueline is car number 59, and that, of course, is the 59 machine that has had its share of problems. And that, of course, is Tyler Berry. And this is a tough break for Anthony Nasella and this team. As we said before, the car owner passed away. There's Anthony out of the car. And the entire team that Mike Davini had put together is working on this race car. And his wife, Michelle, is the lady that, well, keeps it going in memory of her husband. And it's a pretty amazing story. And that car always runs very well. Tough to see it out of the event for today. It's obvious that we are going to see a few more cars looking to check things out behind the scenes, but no takers as yet. Aaron, everybody's staying out, it looks like, with the exception of the car that's on the hook.
The Michael Marshall 29 car went down pit road as well, but they've had a struggle with that car since they unloaded it today.
You know, they're new to running this series. It is very competitive. It's not easy at all. And there's the number 59 car heading back behind the wall again. Of course, that is Tyler Berry. And it looks like the situation, the lucky dog, is going to come into play perhaps here, as these laps are counting. So for some, well, for the guy up front, Kyle Bonsignor, he's liking this.
He definitely is. What he's going to want to hope is that if he decides to come down pit road, everybody else is going to want to follow him, because he can't lose the lead if everybody pits. But if he decides to make that right-hand turn at the end of the back straightaway and go into the pits and nobody else comes, he's going to have a little bit of egg on his face.
And, you know, you have to wonder, Jake Johnson, the only other leader of this event, he has been able to reel in on Bonsignor, and then he'll back out of it and so forth with it. So he's going to, all of a sudden, look what's happening. Jacqueline, here they come. This could be the crucial pit stop of this entire event.
All the teams continuing to rush over here to the pit area as we're down in the pits of the number 22, the leader, Kyle Bonsignor. Once again, the team's going to put on a left rear tire. They said that he feels pretty good, but just a little bit loose, and they're going to make a slight adjustment on the number 22. Patrick Emberlin feeling very stable. The crew chief called for another right rear on that call. And the 64 of Austin Beers, who we saw spin out in that caution, they don't believe anything is broke on the car, as he will also be sent back out.
So we're back here at White Mountain Motorsports Park. We are under the second caution of the event. And of course, Whelen Engineering, trusted to products and first responders. The first name in light sirens and safety services used throughout the world. Whelen Engineering. Those caution lights are bright here at the Speedway, but the intensity of this event is just starting to begin. Stephen Kopsick. Remember, Aaron, you told the story earlier. The key to this is you don't lose positions. You can only gain positions or keep the same position. You might gain some if you stayed out, but we didn't have many takers in that department.
Looks like everyone that stayed out was a car that was down a lap, so they're going to take the wave around to get one of their laps back. And of course, I believe Silk in the 16, who was the lucky dog, was uneligible for coming down pit road because of the lucky dog award. So it is going to be the 22 of Bonsignor with the lead, but we saw something strange down there when Jacqueline was reported. They put a left rear tire on instead of another right rear.
Very odd. But remember, when we did our advanced pit work, they were all over the place. One team would say, I'm going to do a right rear, another team a right front, another team, I'm not changing tires. We'll bring the car in, make a wedge adjustment, but we will not put tires on. So we'll see what happens. We've just been informed that it looks like one more circuit, and all of a sudden, the Patrick Emmerling machine starts to slow just a bit. There's a look at our leader.
And it does look, Ben, like the one car of Patrick Emmerling has shut down over on the back straightaway. That's a heartbreaker for them. They were running inside of the top 3. Had a very impressive day, minding their P's and Q's, ready to challenge late in the going, and now he's going to need a push back to the pits. That's
pretty much how their situation has been all season. They either have the dominant car that's the car to beat, or they have some type of a minor mechanical woe, and that could be the case that just happened here, as now car number 1 is being assisted by the push truck. You're looking at the front row, the front running cars, as they are not in position yet. Car 56 on the inside, and that, of course, one of the Catalana cars. And
that's Trevor, and it looks like he elected to stay out.
Yep, and that is going to perhaps work to his advantage a little bit, but when you stay out, you don't get that fresh rubber, and that fresh rubber has a way of creating some more problems. Let's go back to Jacqueline Drake.
Quick update on 60 of Matt Hirschman. His team replaced that left rear tire on this last pit stop and also made a minor adjustment, hoping that it will help Hirschman with firing off on this restart. Just returning back from the number 1 pit of Patrick Emmerling. The team is confused on what's going on. The car died while rolling onto the track. They're going to try to push him over to the pit area and see if they can diagnose it and get him back out before we go green.
The big question, will he run out of time, Jacqueline, as they come off turn number 4? There is the green. We are back up to speed. Working his magic is Kyle Bonsignor. They come together. They cling and they clang. Off the turn, down into turn number 3. Back to the stripe. Here comes Kopsik, car 21.
Kopsik's gone up to the outside lane. It's Trevor Catalano, though, in car 56, who is showing the way, trying to hold off Kyle Bonsignor. Stephen Kopsik is working magic in the outside lane like he's never done before, going from 5th now to 2nd up the outside groove.
There's no question about it. Kyle Bonsignor literally rode up on the back bumper. Now he pulls alongside. Going, gone. Brand new leader emerges again. This time, the man that's dominating the action. But who's there with him? Car number 21, Stephen Kopsik. The cream is starting to rise to the top. Then it's Jake Johnson in the 3rd spot. Here comes Big Money Matt with car 16.
Matt Hirschman down low goes to 4th, and the 46, Craig Lutz, follows him through, goes to 5th, as Catalano is getting shuffled back through the field after electing to not come down and put a change tire on and try to gain from that 14th position he was running at the time of the caution flag.
There's no question Kyle Bonsignor's car has loosened up. The back end snaps to the right and snaps to the left. Stephen Kopsik, the man in 2nd with car 21. He could be the guy as he gets close. Here comes Matt Hirschman. Sneaks down to the inside. Takes over the 3rd position. Not quite. Back up to position number 3. It is Jake Johnson.
Johnson rim rides the outside lane and hangs on to it. We're coming back around to 5 laps to go. 5 fingers in the air from our chief starter, Sean Houlihan. That means there's 5 to go for Kyle Bonsignor. Can he hold off a charging Stephen Kopsik late in this one? Can Jake Johnson hold off Big Money Matt Hirschman for that number 3 spot? We are less than a mile from the end of this one.
We sure are, and it has been an amazing battle all over the racetrack. It's still Kyle Bonsignore in search of that impressive first victory. Steven Kopsik taps to the back bumper, lets him know he's there. Down into turn number 3, Kyle Bonsignore is so close to that day he has dreamt of, to that victory that he's wanted so many times, and now he is in striking distance. Lap traffic. Meanwhile, they come off the turn. White flag is out. No one is surrendering at the point.
Kyle Bonsignore leads him off at turn number 2. Steven Kopsik looks to the inside, head over turn 3. He had the chrome horn shined up, but couldn't get close enough. Checkered flag is out. 6 different winner. Kyle Bonsignore, the 22.
6 different winner here today. Kyle Bonsignore will take down the impressive victory. Great run for Steven Kopsik in second. Jake Johnson round out the top 3, and it's Matt Hirschman to finish in 4th. Austin Beers, great comeback for 5th. Then it's Craig Lutz for 6th, Luke Baldwin for 7th, Trevor Catalano for 8th, Jonathan McKennedy for 9th, and a tough day for the point leader going in, Justin Bonsignore, to finish in 10th. Tyler Ripkema will finish in 11th. Good run for Brian Roby in 12th, Ronnie Silk, Ken Heggie, Tyler Berry, Patrick Emmerling, Anthony Nocella, Mike Marshall, and Woody Pitkat.
Pitkat had that tough break earlier on in the race, but you got to give a call out to the 64 team.
You're
Austin
right.
Beers was the final caution of the race. He was able to persevere. They came down pit road, put a change tire on it, and he drove back into the top 5 and took a big chunk out of the point lead that Justin Bonsignore came in with today.
Certainly did, and it wasn't that easy for this guy because they really had to work for it. Pit strategy, well, for some it came into play. For others, it was a really tough situation. But the color pink, bright as ever, will shine a little bit brighter today as we go to Victory Lane in just a few short moments. There is the Sunoco flag, the official fuel of course, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And Jacqueline Drake will be down there as she'll be talking to our top 3. And what a great run for Steven Kopsik. And hats off to Jake Johnson, because there were only 2 different leaders in 200 laps. That's not an easy task. And we know that Steven Kopsik passed a lot of race cars to get back to that front.
He certainly did. They had problems earlier in the race, and he had to persevere, and he raced his way up to second, and he picked up 4 spots on the final restart.
Sure did, and as we're taking a look at it, he's about ready to get out of the car, and we're going to be taking a look at our winner, and of course, congratulations to that team and the McDermott family, the dad, the son, and everybody else involved. They just never gave up. And there is Cam McDermott over there to the driver's side. And there's the big hug to the crew and all the individuals involved. And this is a day to remember. And what a great facility Chris Machad and his entire staff, and you're very much a part of that, Aaron, bless the Modifieds with. Every Modified team that we talked to earlier today couldn't speak highly enough about this speedway. They loved coming here. They enjoyed it. And it all comes from the man that runs the place, that hospitality that went all the way down. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, about to get out of the car, our winner.
Winner today at White Mountain Motorsports Park in the Thunder in the Mountains 200. Kyle, what a drive you had, having to take the lead and then defending off. How often were you looking in that rearview mirror?
After that last caution, we took the left rear. It was a lot of, how far back, what's their lap time, what's their line. My spotter did an awesome job. Let me know. It was close, and we might not have made the right call on the time. I don't know. It worked out good, so I can't complain. The guys did a great job all day. We had a great car in practice, qualified good. Got to thank Stone's Performance for the shocks. Tilton, Magnus for the transmissions, Munz Automotive, Chalut Performance, MTT, Robert Yates Race Engines for the awesome power. It was just a great day. I want to say hi to my wife and kids.
Another win for you today in the Whelen Modified Tour, and it's been a little bit since you've been right here. Since 2023, you're getting a little bit emotional. What does this truly mean to you and all the guys right here that work on this car day in and day out?
They needed this bad. Before Riverhead, Andy up in the booth told me it was 22 months since my last win, and I guess we just snuck it in there because it's still June. So hopefully it's only like 22 days or something before the next one. So we'll take this momentum. We'll go into Lancaster. Hopefully we've had really good cars there before. So it's exciting. It's good.
Soak it in. You're the winner today. Race fans, put your hands together. Kyle Bonsignor.
Awesome.
Good job, dude.
Hey guys, can we all start?
Here in Victory Lane, we also have the Hoosier Tire Peel Draw that we will do. As a winner, Kyle, you get to go into the bucket and pull out a finishing position. And the driver that finished in this position will also take home a free set of Hoosier tires. He's going to do a quick breakdown right here. And we'll see. Go ahead and pull a peel out right there. And let's see who's going to take home a free set of Hoosier tires in this finishing position.
Is the number 1 in there?
The number 1 is not in there. Out of the bucket, the driver who finished in the 10th position will get a free set of tires. Back in the bucket you go. Back up to you guys up in the booth.
Well, that driver who finished in the 10th position is Justin Bonsignor. So he will get the tire bonus as well. So congratulations to him. Nice to see a driver so emotional and so ecstatic about winning. But now we've met the winner of the event, and Jacqueline Drake is going to be moving on to our second and third place finishers. Jacqueline?
Walking over to Steven Kopsick, and you seem pretty happy. You've had great momentum throughout the start of this season. Another podium finish for that 21. Did you need just a few more laps, though, to make it one spot better?
Yeah, I think so. I think towards the end of that run, though, I think we were both kind of just doing the best we could with what we had as far as laps on our tires and what we were dealing with. But I couldn't be happier. We had some ups and downs today, and the guys worked hard and stuck with it. And to come out second, that close to a win, can't complain about that. I just got to thank Mr. Franzosa, first off, Tommy Wannick making all this possible, D&B Towing, Wannick Construction, Newtown Pools, Pat, I know he's home watching, Karshner Warehousing, Logistics, Joe Cressy, Harry's You Pull It, and Ballast Distributing, just everyone that helps make this happen, my dad and all the guys that came out today. So.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Steven Kopsick finishing in the second position today.